From ClarkWoods.com, this is horribly off topic, the nipples of the podcasting world.
I think it's more like the nipples of college radio.
We got some feedback. Just to start out, first of all, I'm Chris.
I'm Steve, and this is...
well, we already said what it was. You don't need to say...
We're horribly off topic.
I got that part out of the way.
Fuck you.
We got some feedback right off the gate, and I just got to do this because I got it. And we're not doing... Steve refuses to say the magic words. We don't do that anymore. We killed that bit last week.
I don't want to... I mean, maybe in a while.
It'll
we can bring it back.
We'll bring it back.
You know, one of the favorites of people. I don't know. Whatever.
So, you were talking last week about... you had a phrase. You were the something of college radio. It was part of your show's tagline.
Well, no, it wasn't the show's tagline. I wanted it to be the station's tagline.
Station ID, that's right.
Because it was the flip side of college radio. And I had my point last week that, you know, the flip side of college radio would be regular radio.
Right.
Because college radio is supposed to be something different.
Yes.
And so I'm like, that's dumb. We should just call it the nipples of college radio.
Right, which you could not remember last week.
I couldn't for the life of me.
But Brian wrote into us. Thank you, Brian. And he said, Steve used to say the nipples of college radio. He was, in fact, very insistent that this was the best tagline.
It was.
I'm just surprised.
Out of the two of them that I've said,
yes.
Which one do you like more?
I like the nipples.
Me too.
Nipples are fun. And I don't know where I'm going with that.
I've got a joke.
You've got a joke. I'm glad you have a joke.
Thanks,
because
Jackie Joke Man, for the plethora of jokes that
about nipples.
Not necessarily about nipples, but just this particular one is about nipples.
Yes.
So, what are those bumps around a girl's nipple?
The areola.
No. Wow, thanks for answering honestly.
I don't know. All right, wait. How am I supposed to respond? I don't know.
You're like, I don't know.
All right, let's do it again.
What are those bumps around a girl's nipple?
I don't know.
They're Braille for lick here.
That's good. What about the ones about around a dude's nipples?
I don't know. I guess gals.
I guess they're also.
Yeah.
Ever had a girl nick your?
Yes, when I was shaving my chest.
Wait, let me finish because then it can actually be the title. You ever had a girl nick your nipples?
I don't know if we should make that the title. That's too early on. People will stop listening.
That's true. Have you ever had a girl lick your nipples?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you?
I don't know. I don't know if I have. That's a good question.
I mean, I don't say, hey, you got to do this.
Yeah, it's not like
some people like a little nipple play, and I'm all right with it. It's fine, but I'm not like.
I'm feeling like it must have. I'm feeling like it must have happened at some point because I think there have been times where I have been very self-conscious about nipple play because I think when it was done to me, I thought it was kind of weird.
Did you get giggly?
No, that it was just like this doesn't feel really. It just feels kind of like odd, like not good,
not fun
terrible.
Way.
Just kind of like what this? Why would anyone want this done to them? And so it must have happened at some point because I think still to this day, if there's a little nipple play involved, I'm just like. No, this might be like, is she just humoring me that we're like?
But what kind of nipple play is it? Like a little and unfortunately,
that is exactly what it's like.
Or is it like a little
with the sound,
a little biting, a little?
There's a little bit of everything.
A little sucking. See, I don't like my nipples are sensitive. I don't want to.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want pinches or bites.
Yeah,
no. I like a little nibble here and there. That's fine. But
right. Yeah, maybe.
Why are we talking about this?
I don't know because we are the nipples of podcasting.
No, we're not. That ship has sailed.
That ship is gone. So you went to opening day this past week, right?
I sure did.
On the day this show came out, I think we pre-gamed opening day on last episode. So you went to opening day, and I didn't go, so I wanted to hear about it.
It was very lightly attended for people that I knew, but luckily Bill came through again and showed up and watched the game, and also a guy Jack I work with. I doubt he's going to listen, but I'm not going it's not like I'm going to be talking smack about it. He bought me a couple of beers and didn't give me a chance to buy him one. So thank you, Jack.
There you go.
I've already thanked him, but
my favorite
thank
kind
you
of,
live on the air, recorded.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
I have no idea.
Yeah. So you got attended by friends, but
yeah, it was like it was. So I was at Who's On First for a while. Just it was pretty uneventful.
Yeah.
And then I went over to Copperfields a little bit before the game started, and I, of course, like a magnet that I am, I found a pinball machine. It was a World Cup soccer machine, which is a pretty alright one.
Yeah.
Like it's made in 1994, around the time of the World Cup.
Understandably.
In the United States.
Oh, okay. All right. Where was it then?
Hotlanta.
Oh, that's right, because it was probably like the lead up to the Olympics, and they probably
were the Olympics in Hotlanta that summer.
96.
Oh, okay.
A couple years later.
Well, maybe I'm wrong about it being in Atlanta.
No, I mean that's the way those things usually like. They one thing is there to sort of like as the hype machine is getting ready to bring in the next thing. I don't know. You could be wrong. Somebody could
get
tell
on
us.
the hype train.
Hype train.
That's something that people say on the internet a lot now. That
hype train.
No, we're just hype. They say it really loud. They say it like hype like that, and I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't either. I think it's young people.
The young people today, they need to get off.
I don't even think it's millennials. I think it's the folks after them.
Ugh, there are folks after them?
Yeah, the Generation Z. They don't even have a name yet.
Yeah.
But we're Gen X, so.
Generation the end. X is cool.
Yeah.
Y is not so cool. That's why they're the millennials.
Well, they were the MTV generation.
Were they?
I thought that's what they were called.
I don't know.
Because they didn't exist before MTV.
Oh, that's right.
It's like it was 1980 was when it started.
That's right. When does millennial end?
I don't know. Like ours is I think 15 years from maybe 1965 to 1979.
Yeah.
And so maybe
we're talking
1980 to 1995.
Okay. Yeah. So you really are coming up against like the end of millennial, or you're already there. Do I have students who are not millennials?
I don't know. Well, how old are they? What year were they born?
Well, if they're born in 95
or 96, you
I must
probably
have students who aren't, because
Generation Z, buddy.
Yeah, that's there. I don't know that I have noticed a changeover, but it's interesting. So if the 15 years from 95 would be 95 to 2000, which means there's that generation, and my kids are part of the next generation. That's just weird.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Are they gonna get to hang out with Riker or Deanna Troi or any of those people whose name drops mean absolutely nothing right now?
You know, they were in like the year 23 something or other. I doubt they would.
So it wouldn't be Star Trek: The Next Generation. It'd be like Star Trek the like 20 generations
Enterprise,
ago.
the first one with Scott Bakula.
That one, even that one's way in the future.
Yeah, I know.
Like that one's after nuclear war and Zefram Cochrane and all those guys in First Contact, right? I mean, like that's after all that.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Anyway, opening day.
Opening day. So I went over to Copperfields, played a couple rounds of pinball until the game started, and you wouldn't believe how hard it was to get quarters from the guys at the bar. I'm like, I'm going to play the pinball machine right over there. Like it doesn't have a money slot.
Right.
So give me some fucking quarters. You're gonna make money on this.
Nah, we're only gonna get quarters, dude. No.
It's not like they were charging like $7.50 for a beer. It was $8.
Why are people hesitant to part with their quarters in places like that? I mean,
well, if you have things that are meant to
right?
I forget who I was talking to about it, but there was I guess a bar that had some arcades or whatever in it. And the person that ran the bar didn't want to give people quarters to play the games.
What's the point of having that?
I don't know. It's like there wasn't like a quarter machine or anything. It was just, I don't know. Whatever.
See, that's why an arcade with a bar much better than a bar with a couple of arcade or pinball machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think there should be a nice balance in between the two. But I don't want to talk about business ventures here on the show.
Oh, okay.
Not that I have any business ventures.
You got a nice little idea cooking up there.
Right in my old brain holes.
Right up in there in your noggin.
Yeah. So, I was there, and okay, there was just something odd happening when I was there, and I don't know if it was just. Okay, so I'm sitting I was being a wallflower. I was like, the game had just started, and I was kind of like watching the game, and then there was like this guy who was wearing sweatpants, and I think I've said I've said on several occasions, like, it's one thing for women to wear like yoga pants or like sweatpants, like, in public. I think that's okay because I find women attractive and I don't mind that, their tight pants are nearby.
Understood.
Yeah. And so this dude's just like in sweatpants. He had like glasses like mine. I mean, you can look at my picture.
Yeah. Until we eventually get rid of it because you don't like that picture.
Well, we could get something.
Yeah. Anyway.
So he's standing by the stage at Copperfields, which is just like a little stage. I imagine maybe they do comedy nights or like a local band or something when it's not a game day.
Where is Copperfields down the end by? Is it past House of Blues or where's Copperfield?
It's not. That's Lansdowne. So
okay,
it's not on Lansdowne.
Right. Different place I'm thinking of.
It's past Yawkey, but like. So the thing is, the place I was first was Who's on First,
right, I know where that one is. Yeah.
So it's right up the street from there.
Okay, got it.
And Who's on First, you can get into Yawkey Way from that bar, but on like a game day, obviously you have to have a ticket to go that way.
Got it.
So I'm there. This guy is standing near the stage, and he's just kind of dancing around
in his sweatpants.
Yeah, he's not fit at all. He's sort of like very pear-shaped. Very pear-shaped man.
Very, very pear-shaped man in sweatpants.
Yes, and so
sweatpants have anything on them, like a logo on the ass or on the.
No, I wasn't really. I wasn't studying him that well, but like they seem just like black sweatpants.
Black sweatpants.
So he's just kind of dancing around, and I'm like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
And he kind of falls.
Well, I want to paint. This is theater of the mind. I want to paint a picture here. Like, what was he wearing, like shirt-wise, and how did it cover the pear shape? Like,
he was just wearing like a
t-shirt?
a t-shirt, and he had like a hooded sweatshirt over it.
Okay. All right. Oh, hooded sweat. Was the hooded sweatshirt the same color as the sweatpants?
Yes, kind of. Maybe.
That's maybe even worse. All right.
All right. So he's dancing around like not like I don't know, just kind of I can't even describe it.
Theater of the mind.
And so he falls onto the stage. And then he kind of like puts his legs up in the air like he's a baby getting a diaper changed, and just kind of like moving his arms and legs around.
He's doing the old the shit dance.
Is that what it's called?
It is now.
Okay. He was doing the old shit dance.
Okay.
As you popularized just now. And
I'm making it a thing.
So he's doing that, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And so like there's these guys that are sitting near me, and I'm like, what is happening? And they were like, and they just start laughing, and then one of the dudes goes, hey, you look like some actor that I couldn't remember. And I'm like, I'm like, I don't know, I've never heard of him. And he goes, well, he like the women love him. And I'm like, well, it's definitely not me. I just sing to myself. But yeah, then like they got up and went to the bar, and then that dude like went over to them. So I guess they were friends and together. It's a good thing I didn't be like, I wasn't like, that guy's fucking crazy or anything. But then I was just like, what is going on? And then like there was two attractive ladies sitting at the end of the bar, and they were just like, trying to order a drink, and then like the sweatpants dude, and then I realized he's got his ass crack showing.
That completes the picture.
Yeah, it's just like he has the plumber's crack, and then he walks over to these ladies. He keeps on turning around, and like I think it was just like
showing them his plumber's crack.
Yeah,
like he thinks that's the way into their
no. He didn't
hearts.
do it like on purpose. He didn't do it like point at it. He was just like he would turn over to his friends.
Look at my ass.
But yeah, he was just doing it. I think to just mess with them, and I think his friends were like, go hit on them and whatever, and I don't know. I don't know if he was like, I don't know if they were doing like a sort of like Impractical Jokers type show just for themselves,
right? And
whoever was nearby to witness it, or if the guy is actually sort of a little off, and then his friends are just taking advantage of
the fact that he's a little off,
or I have no idea. It was just it was kind of crazy. I mean, there's
weird.
I mean, I didn't lose my faculties like many other opening days. Bill came by, we watched the game, and I mean, the rest of the story is kind of boring. But we went back, we hung out at his place. I got to meet he has a little daughter.
Aww.
Her name is Lizzie.
Lizzie.
She's very cute. She's very happy. At least while I was there.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty awesome.
Because you're your Uncle Steve.
Oh God.
I didn't say it in a creepy way.
Yeah, but still.
Well, I did not go to opening day because I've been...
No shit.
I
was standing there all by myself for a while, and I'm like, where's Chris? I'm so sad.
So sad. I've been grading things all week, except for the one night that I took off, which was Wednesday night, where I read from my high school diary on stage.
Wow, wait, we already talked about it anyways.
We did. We talked about it. We talked about it last week. We were trying to get
we got
people
so
to come.
many people to go.
I know. Our podcast is so effective in bringing people to shows.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, we had just started
when you were still
when I was still doing stand up, and that really didn't help.
Yeah, no.
This show got me no people to come to any comedy.
I am sorry.
It's all right. Well, I came to your show.
You came to my show, so me talking about it on the show made you come to the show. So I got at least one person.
Yeah. It was good. It was fun. And I'm not one to placate or say things were better than they actually were.
Yeah.
I had a really good time. I think that almost everybody, well, in fact, I think everybody did a good job.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of one that I disliked.
Yeah. I mean,
there was some that maybe were a little longer than I would have preferred.
There were, yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, they were all pretty good.
Yeah. No, and it's a fun event. It's the third time I've done it. The first time I did it, there was a sort of longer time limit, and I think that it's maybe more along the lines of like 7 to 10 minutes. And I think they tried to crack down on that. So the first time I did it, I did one set of journal entries. They were way too long the second time, because the second time they wanted the sort of time limit they have now, which is 3 to 5 minutes. So I picked something else, and I was like right up against the 5 minutes. And then since I had done something different both the first two times, this time I said...
But there was people that went on for way more than 5
And that's
minutes.
what I realized. There were people who went on a while.
There was like maybe 10, maybe even more.
Yeah, I mean, I timed mine before... and this was when I'm, as everyone knows, I tend to stress out a little bit.
Well, you did a good job, so whatever.
The day before I had read it, and there was an optional rehearsal the night before. But the day before I had read it, and it was still like 7 minutes, and I was like, I need to cut stuff before I even present it in front of a friendly audience of fellow performers. So, if I had any complaint about it, it would just be that I took the 3 to 5 minutes really seriously, because I think 3 to 5 minutes is the perfect length for something like that. Right? Everyone's laughing along with you. Everyone can kind of go along with your painful teenage experiences. Even 5 to 7 isn't bad, but once you start to get into that 10-minute range, it's not that you have any problem with the performer. It's that it starts to go from I'm laughing with you to I'm feeling bad for you. I think like you like lay on so much stuff that when it was bad, and the emotion, I think, starts to change. And I just in general think with any event like that, going shorter is especially when there's like 15 performers.
Yeah, definitely. I've been on comedy showcases before, and like that's usually how much they give people, except for the headliner.
Yeah,
the person that goes last goes for maybe 20 minutes.
And the person who went last in this was the perfect person to go last. Like that was a fantastic little set. I don't know if she went long.
I think it was a little too sexual.
You think? Oh, really? Enlighten me. Why
I don't know. I felt uncomfortable.
It was very...
It's weird. I don't know. I didn't actually feel uncomfortable. No. But it was definitely more sexual than anybody else's.
Than anybody else's, yeah.
And I was just like, and I'm thinking back to like when I'm like 15, 16, and I'm like, I was not sexually active back then.
I was not.
Big surprise, huh, guys?
I was not either.
So it's just like, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, oh yeah, what are you bragging?
Yeah. There is a certain element of that. But and I can't remember. There were definitely some. But it's funny to hear even if I am kind of like, what are you bragging? It's funny to hear what a teenager will say outright, and then they'll kind of poetically dance around. And I can't remember the phrase that she used to describe the guy's growing erection, but it was something like, it was not trouser snake, it was like dragon,
I think it was python or something.
Python. It was python.
Maybe he was very well endowed.
I don't know. But at any rate, the way, like, the other thing that is people complimented me on this, and I thought it was really weird. They're like, you were such a good writer back then. I was like, okay,
but not anymore though.
But looking objectively at everyone else's, I said, yeah, like, you can kind of tell that these are people who are going to grow up and have a certain facility with words. But then what's funny is they take that facility with words to an extreme and, like, say, like, pants python instead of his cock was growing bigger, or whatever else you might
that
say.
Should be the episode title.
But yeah, no.
All right, there's something I want to talk about, and I don't want to get you in trouble.
You don't want to get me related to this.
It's not to this person, but a different person.
Okay.
All
related
right.
to what I talked about.
No, nothing to do with you talked about. All right, and nothing to do with anybody talked about.
Okay.
And this is something that I was just freaked out.
Okay.
And do you think
I
know
don't
where
have
I'm
any
going?
idea.
You have no idea?
No.
Okay, so I forget the name of the guy. But what I called him was the Day of the Dead.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, okay. And what freaked you out?
I just face tattoos. I mean, like, the thing is, like, Mike Tyson, he has the face tattoo.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable to me after seeing this dude. I actually called him Day of the Dead or Honeycomb Hideout because he had these earrings that were like honeycomb.
He did, yeah. I do not know that guy.
Okay, good.
The sleuths could probably figure out, because I post a list of all
somebody that I refer to as Day of the Dead. They might be able to figure out who it is.
Well, I post every performance that I've done as part of the blog on my website. So I've got
that is like the Mexican Halloween, isn't it? Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm just wanted to make sure.
You could probably figure out based on the names of the people who performed which person this was. But yeah, I was a little taken aback. I feel like I've seen him around town. This event happened in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, for those of you just tuning in.
For those of you that just decided, let's go to minute 22 of the podcast.
22. And episode, what are we on? 38? Yeah.
38. Oh, I have another joke for everyone.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen him around, but I don't know where, and I was definitely a little taken aback by the extent of the face tattoos. What really got me, and I wanted to ask him about it, but I didn't know how to ask him in a way that wasn't rude.
Yeah, I was just like, I felt weird looking at him.
It's a very, like, these are face tattoos that are very, very extensive, and there are, like you said, there are the earrings. But the other thing is he had something embedded under the skin on. Like,
he had he looked like Hellboy.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on there. I wanted to understand like how that worked. And I was like, I don't know how to ask that without like, I guess I'm just not capable of asking questions like that without being offensive.
I see. I would have just asked with enough
with enough beer in you.
I would have just been like, hey, how did you get all that weird fucked up shit in your face? Yeah. Actually, I don't know. I just tread lightly because these are your contemporaries.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like the guy. I mean,
the funny thing is that most of them are not my contemporaries in the sense that a lot of them are younger than us. A lot of them are like millennials, and I was among.
Some of them were older than you.
Oh yeah. Jamie Bradley, who does a lot of work at Seacoast Rep, he's a pretty famous figure over there. He is definitely older than me by at least 5 or 6 years, I think. And there were other people who are older, but I was among the older people there. I mean, there were people who were reading from their live journals, like that was their teenage diary.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, somebody brought up his laptop and read like direct from his still live journal, which was funny. He was great, but I was just like, I mean, I could read from my old blogs. Those might be embarrassing.
I could have found some shit from my old MySpace,
but instead,
I think I actually took everything down.
I got rid of my MySpace.
I think I did. I don't know.
Yeah, I went through a social media purge a few years ago, and I get that itch every once in a while, just because
a little cream might.
Yeah, a little cream might help. Instead, I read about what it was the for a long time the most important relationship of my life. I'm kind of almost embarrassed to say that. Like I assigned so much value to this particular relationship until I started dating my wife. Like
the one that you talked about.
The one that I talked about was like the.
Can I mention the person's real name, or should I not?
I mean, I don't know. Can you? Like that's worth debating.
All right, I'll
no,
refrain.
no. I mean, I'm not.
I'm asking you. I wasn't saying, can I do it? Is it possible?
I see. Well, the thing is that I don't know. Well, there are certainly people who listen to this show on occasion who, if you mention that name, are going to go, "Wow, Chris thought that was the most important relationship of his life."
Yeah. So let's leave it.
Yeah.
I don't want people to judge you like you have a face tattoo or something.
One of the beauties of the event is there's no recording, there's no whatever. It's just, it's just for the people who were there in the room. I did change the name of the person when I was reading the entries, and the thing is that people. But
Chris did tell me who it was afterwards, and I was like, what?
I did, yes, and that was what made like. Would you have known otherwise?
I wasn't like that entwined in your life at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
I did occasionally bum a ride home from you,
right,
after school because I used to walk to school.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So you wouldn't have known unless I mentioned the name. And I did. It's just funny to think back on. And what was really weird is, the first two times I did this, I talked about relationships that maybe didn't mean as much to me, right? One of them was one that I obsessed over when I was young, but have long since found to be ridiculous that I obsessed over it. The other one was just a funny set of entries, and then this one I wasn't sure it was going to be funny because I think somewhere still in the adolescent part of me, because it was the relationship where I had my first kiss, that I was like, I don't know, is that one funny? I still have fond memories of that relationship.
Aww.
And now that I've made fun of it on stage, I think I can finally.
You probably should have done that like 15 years ago.
Probably. It was. It's an interesting. I recommend. If you've got a similar event in your area and you've got...
I want to try it.
Yeah,
I need to go to my dad's house and dig out... Like, I had journals. Like, I didn't call them a diary.
Yeah, I didn't call mine a diary. So here's the thing. We tried doing this same kind of event at Studio 99 in Nashua years ago.
What's Studio 99?
It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
But it was a music venue, spoken word sometimes. They did piano karaoke for
what they call live band karaoke.
This was not quite live band. The reason I was asking you earlier about the place on land that I mentioned that was on Lansdowne that you. The reason I asked you about that bar was
the House of Blues.
No. There is a live band karaoke place around the corner or down the street from House of Blues. That's truly a live band, guitar, bass, and drums that I've been to and I love, and I would love to go back there.
There's a place in Manchester that does it too.
Yeah. Well, Studio 99 was just piano, and I think she still does it, just at a different location. Anyway, we tried doing an I Could Just Diary-like event in Nashua. Almost nobody came, but I would love to put on that kind of event, maybe even in Chelmsford. Like if we could get the upstairs of the Arts Center, which has the old town hall.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
They rebuilt it into an art center, and it's got a nice stage up there. and I bet you could get.
Well, if you were running the show, I wouldn't have to worry about like actually having a journal. I could just tell some old stories and say that.
Right. It could it could be any number of things. The other thing that the other angle on that event that I would love to try at some point would be to get a number of people whose lives were intertwined at a specific moment to read their journal entries about that specific moment. It would require a little bit of doing, because who knows if you could find people who were all keeping a journal at that specific time. But like, I would love to. I think it would be very funny to take my journal entries that I read this past Wednesday, and if the girl, the woman involved, if she had journal entries from that same time, and if either or three of there are three guys who were kind of tangentially involved.
Who's the third guy?
So there was Aside from me, see all of this without revealing the person. Aside from me and the person that, God, we should just say it. But I'm gonna
whatever.
I'm gonna keep it vague, and if you figure it out, you figure it out. If you're somebody who knows. So aside from me and the person that the girl eventually got together with and married.
Gotcha.
There was the friend of mine who we were both interested in the girl at the same time. So if he had entries or
did you do a podcast with this person?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
All right, so I got a good idea.
So if he had something, if I had something, if the girl had something,
or if the other guy,
or if the now husband of the girl had something. There is one other person, but I am not in contact with this person. Who she
was it a love quadrangle?
She was kind of hanging out with him a lot around the time that she and I broke up, and I had questions at the time as to whether or not they were kind of a thing. They probably, I don't know. I don't want to guess. They might have been. They might not have been. It was very short lived, I imagine.
It's going to be okay, Chris. You're married. You have 2 children now.
I wasn't trying to be sad there. I was just being contemplative for a second in terms of figuring. Anyway, I think it would be really interesting to get a bunch of people who all were like angsty or maybe not angsty. Maybe it wasn't even that big a deal. That would be part of what would be funny about it. Like that over here you have me going, ah, and then the other person's just like, yeah, I kind of like I kissed this person.
And maybe the person that she ended up with was playing Legos at Paul's house.
you asshole. Maybe. There is only so much. Yeah, thank you. I'm actually not unhappy. There's only so much teasing around the subject you can do before you come right out and just confirm.
There's people that are like listening that have absolutely no idea what we're talking about.
Right, but it's still funny. I think.
Are you crying? You all right?
No. I'm only crying because it's funny.
Oh, okay. Let me tell that joke.
Okay, joke. What was the joke about?
I'm not going to tell you.
All right, right. Well,
I'm going to preface the joke with...
Preface the joke by explaining the joke. No. Please explain the joke to me.
All right, so a guy is standing on a board that's covering an open manhole.
All right.
And he's jumping up and down, and he's going, 38. Woohoo! 38. So all of a sudden, this guy walks by. He goes, hey, man, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm having a pissa. He's jumping around. He's like, 38. Woohoo! 38. Guy's like, hey, do you mind if I try? He's like, knock yourself out. He gets off of it. Guy gets on. It's like, hey, he's like, 38. Woohoo! 38. Jumps in the air. The moment he jumps in the air, the guy kicks the board away, falls into the open manhole, puts the board back, gets back on, goes, 39.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So now that we have basically said who the person in question was without saying who the person in question was,
You could always cut it out.
No. I I think that was a remarkably funny way to wrap up that section of the show.
Thank you.
In other news,
What happened?
In other news, on the way over here, I saw a headline that I can't believe is a headline.
You didn't tell me about this before.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. Oh. Independence Day 2.
Oh, yes.
Brings back Bill Pullman and Judd Hirsch.
Because everybody was...
That is a headline.
What we were all hoping for was the guy that was so over-the-top Jewish to ham it up a little bit more.
A little bit more.
And like we did go into further detail, and Jeff Goldblum is...
Yeah. So I pulled up the article. After many months of probablys, presumablys, and expect-to-bes, we finally have solid confirmation. Bill Pullman is returning for Independence Day 2.
Well, he can't be the president anymore.
Mm-hmm. Depends on when it takes place. I mean, he is a much older man, but they could try to shoehorn it in. That I mean,
so it was next year.
I mean, who knows? He could be the retired president. You know, he's like the Jimmy Carter of the apocalypse. He's like still hanging around.
What is he going to do? Habitat for Humanity to rebuild all the cities that were destroyed by giant alien attacks?
I think it's possible. What's more, he's bringing along another one of his old co-stars, Judd Hirsch. Pullman and Hirsch join original Independence Day co-stars Jeff Goldblum, Brent Spiner, and Vivica A. Fox.
Okay, so here's my issue with what you just said.
Yes.
Brent Spiner was killed.
That's right. That is right.
He was the doctor that was
possessed or whatever by the alien.
Yeah, and then he got friggin' thrown up against a friggin' wall, got his like neck broke or whatever.
So is he like his twin? Is he playing?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's.
I mean, that's how they got around spoilers.
For Independence Day?
No, for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. On Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. First season, they bring in Patton Oswalt for a couple of episodes, and then he gets killed.
Oh no!
But then in the very last episode, in the last shot, there's Patton Oswalt again, and it turns out that there's a bunch of Patton Oswalts. Either there's triplets, quadruplets, whatever, or he is a clone of some sort. They haven't quite. They haven't quite said, but so maybe Brent Spiner is playing his clone.
Did you ever see the movie Beer Fest?
No,
it was the guys that did Super Troopers.
No, I did not see that.
So there's a certain point where one of the spoilers again. If you haven't seen a movie that came out back in like 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a point where one of the characters dies, and then like at his like funeral or wake, there's another guy that shows up and says, the character's name is Landfill.
Yeah.
I'm Landfill's twin brother, and we were estranged, but now I want to be part of what he was a part of.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can just call me Landfill.
So. An interesting thing about this is a ham-fisted transition brought to you by
ham-fisted.
Brought to you by my ham and my fist. Back when Independence Day came out,
I got to tell you something. Like before
go ahead.
I went to see it. It was probably a little bit after I had my appendix out.
Okay.
And so we were in the theater, and then the fire alarm went off. Halfway, well, not halfway. It was like pretty early on in the movie, like when the aliens are first arriving.
Right.
And the fire alarm went off, so we all, of course, had to go outside. So we went outside, and we were all kind of rip shit that there wasn't a giant alien spacecraft in the air.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? We were watching a movie.
Right.
That was the story.
Okay, so back when it came out, or the Christmas after it came out, more to the point. My cousins
got it on VHS.
Well, no, it was on pay-per-view. So my cousins, my aunt and uncle had moved down to North Carolina, and they were coming back up at this point for Christmas time, and they were staying at our place. And my dad had the little black box that got us all the pay-per-view we wanted, and that movie was on all the time, and literally every time I came home, my cousin would be sitting on the couch watching Independence Day, and it just became the sort of go-to default movie that would be on all the time, to the point where like later on, like there are these movies that I saw during that period because I saw them all the time, that even if they're bad movies, if I have no other choice of what to watch, if I can't figure out, like with the hundreds of movies I have on my Apple TV, like what I want to watch, I'll go to like A Few Good Men, or I don't think I have Independence Day, but I'll go to like these movies that I saw all the time. And on the ride over here, I heard somebody use a term for this, which was default movie. Like, so in their household, when they can't agree, when he and his wife and his daughter can't agree, they have certain default movies. So it was the Avengers for a long time, and then it was the Incredibles because they have a younger kid.
As far as kids movies, that's
the Incredibles is pretty
that's a good pick.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of what mine would be, and they come back to movies that I saw in like the early to mid 90s that I saw like a million times because we had the little black box and the pay-per-view was just on all the time. Other than that, I mean, I go to my Marvel movies, but like if you can't decide what to watch, what do you go to watch?
Well, the two that I watched the most when I was a kid that were actual movies, not like kids movies, were Back to the Future.
Oh yeah,
and
I will go to that one.
And Ghostbusters.
Because
we had them both. We taped them off of HBO.
Yeah, and you had them on VHS.
Yeah.
My dad taped a ton of stuff. We didn't always have HBO, but I figured like there was a period there where we did, and he taped a bunch of stuff, and of course we had the pay-per-view. Ghostbusters wasn't around, and I don't know. Maybe that makes me a deficient human being that we didn't have a copy of Ghostbusters. But Back to the Future we had, and Star Wars we had.
Actually, I didn't watch like the Star Wars trilogy until I was in high school.
Really?
Like in its entirety. In fact, I borrowed it from your brother.
Oh wow! Okay.
Like your guys'
You had like we had like a 6-hour tape that
had all three of them.
Had all three, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to watch. Like back in the day, like a 6-hour tape. I mean, that's the equivalent to binge watching today. Mm-hmm. Like you have a 6-hour VHS tape, and it just had one movie after. This is just occurring to me now. Like. We had that, like a 6-hour tape, and it just had like 3 movies on it, or an 8-hour tape that had 4 movies.
Yeah.
And my dad had a ton of those.
I remember, it's funny. I think I do it once a year. I think I probably talked about it before, and I think that's a drinkable thing. when I say, I think I probably talked about this before.
Yeah.
Is The Stand. Like the Stephen King, and it's on Netflix.
Right. Like, but back in the day, my dad had it on.
Yeah,
like an 8-hour
tape. I taped it off of that tape that your dad had, and so that was how I used to watch it, and like that would be one of those things if I was like bed sick, like I couldn't like. I didn't want to move.
It's not a movie to watch when you're bed sick.
Yeah, well, like the freaking Captain Trips.
Like, what if I have this? What if this is the beginning? Yeah.
No, but like that would be like one of those things that would just pop in and then like fall asleep during and then wake up and like whatever. Because I've seen it so many times I didn't give a shit about seeing whatever parts that I missed.
That was a thing that I did in college, so much to the point where like still to this day it's much easier for me to fall asleep with something on. Than it is for me to fall asleep when it's totally quiet. Like I would put on, and I think it annoyed Stephanie when we first got together. Like I would have movies on just to fall asleep.
You should have just got a white noise machine or something.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, and a lot of them were on those like 6 or 8 hour tapes, so it was literally like 3 movies. Like, and she would just be like, "Oh, when do I get to turn it?" She would just wait till this is early in our relationship. Maybe even in college, she would just get up and turn it off.
There was a time that I was having a problem sleeping, and what I found helped. And one of my favorite shows of all time is The Simpsons.
Yes,
and I would put the Simpsons episodes on with the commentary.
Yeah,
and comedy writers, although very funny in the written word, and when it's presented by voice actors, etc., etc. But they're not the most interesting people, like. In the audio commentaries. I mean, they say some cool like stuff. Like there was an episode of The Simpsons where it was one of the Halloween episodes, and the guy that we've talked about before, Lance Wilder from Chelmsford, he there was this Halloween episode where Homer kept on going back in time because he fixed the toaster and he turned it into a time machine. And he kept on going back in time and like smashing something and then causing things to get fucked up in the present. So he kept on going back to try to stop that, and it kept on failing. And whatnot. And so there was like a montage of like the Simpsons house changing into different things.
Mm-hmm.
And in the script, there was the Simpsons draw the Simpsons house made out of squirrels. And so it took him for fucking ever, but he did it.
Where this story is going,
and they didn't use it, and so he used it as his Christmas card that year.
Well, that is a way to get around the absolute disappointment of putting that much fucking work into something.
Yeah, it's like because but that was one of the things I would do. I'd put on the Simpsons commentary, and I would usually one episode, and then I'd be out.
Yeah. See, and I don't know if I could only do that with stuff that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, obviously you can't watch something new
and fall asleep to it, because then you're going to miss it. So like it has intrigued me that I'll hear people talk about, and there are even settings for this in I hear people talk about listening to audiobooks as they fall asleep and having like a setting that turns it off after X minutes. I'm like, why would you do, like, if it's a book you've read before, sure.
Yeah.
Or if it's a movie, if you have like a timer you can put on your DVD or your Blu-ray or whatever, or your Apple TV or Amazon, whatever. Like,
name some more things.
What's
the name of some other things you can consume
some
media
other things.
on?
But like, if you've seen it before, sure. But if you haven't seen it, I don't know. Like, and that's why I have such a hard time consuming new things, because I want to devote attention to them. Like, I still haven't watched the Daredevil show, which everyone that I know online is raving about.
I've heard good things so far.
I haven't watched it because I don't have any time to actually
Affleck like a motherfucker.
Speaking of Affleck like a motherfucker, so I want to talk about the Star Wars trailer,
which I just watched before the show.
But so Ben Affleck is in is going to be in Batman versus Superman.
Is he Batman or Superman?
He's Batman.
Who's Superman?
Superman is Henry Cavill, who was in Man of Steel. So like, this is building off of that.
So it's the same guy?
It's the same guy. So it's building off of that universe. So yesterday, and we'll talk about the Star Wars trailer in a minute, because you had some very funny insights or questions about. You did. He was just giving me an incredulous look, like I did. So that came out yesterday at the end of a really nice, if kind of pandering to the fans panel at Star Wars Celebration, where they brought out Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew, who plays Chewbacca. They brought out a couple of the droids. They brought out a bunch of the new stormtroopers.
Wouldn't they want to do it on May 4th?
Maybe, but maybe they had. Well, because
isn't that like May the 4th be with you?
Yes,
isn't that what the thing
that's
is?
like a Monday or a Tuesday.
Oh,
and it's also right after the Avengers comes out.
Oh, so they didn't want to like.
They didn't want to. Remember, Disney owns both Star Wars and the Avengers. They don't want to cross their streams.
But May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
That's a thing.
So they had this great panel. They brought out some of the new actors. They addressed some of the questions out there. Well, without spoiling too much, because the movie's still 6-8 months away.
Yeah, Christmas time.
They did all that, and then released this trailer, which I think is really good. We'll talk about it in a minute. Today, the trailer for Batman vs. Superman leaked, which is supposed to officially come out on Monday. So today we're recording on Friday.
I didn't see that one. You didn't tell me about that one.
I don't know if it's still online, because it leaked unofficially. They have not put it up yet. So I watched the leak before it was taken down. I don't know if it's been taken down.
Any good?
No. Like, that's the thing. So like, I want to believe, like, Affleck, he fucked up Daredevil. He's a huge comic book fan. He fucked up Daredevil. He knows he fucked up Daredevil back in the day, and he feels bad about fucking up Daredevil. So he signs on to do Batman, I think, with the good intention of, like, I have learned a lot since then. Affleck's made a couple of good films since then as both a filmmaker and an actor. He signs on, but this film, like they don't go for dark. Like, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is kind of dark.
I need to see that one still. Is that on
streaming video
service yet?
Streaming video service yet. No.
Even though I've already said it today.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a dark film, but is also a fun film, right? This film, Batman vs. Superman, from like the little that you show of it, looks bleak.
So it's just like Superman just punch him into a wall and then it's over? Like,
I don't know. He is in, and by the time this episode airs, you might be able to see this officially online. Batman, when you finally see them confronting each other, is in like a almost Iron Man-esque suit, like a really heavy armored suit. Affleck, I don't know if they did something to his voice in post or whatever.
Does he sound like Bane?
It sounds even worse than Christian Bale. Even worse than that bullshit voice that Christian Bale did a great job in those movies. I think in general.
Yeah, the third one maybe not so much, but whatever.
I don't know that that's Christian Bale's problem. I think it's a problem with other aspects of the film. Anyway, his voice is worse. It's bleaker than Man of Steel, which is a bleak fucking Superman movie. This is obviously they have handed the reins over to the wrong people over there. Joss Whedon was the right person to kind of shepherd Marvel and their Avengers films and all of this. And Zack Snyder is who DC has decided to go with. And like he's capable of making an interesting film. I think the 300 films are good. I think Watchmen is good. But he is not meant to make fucking Superman, Batman, all these people come together because it's just going to be bleak. It like nobody wants to go.
I never see the problem with Superman is that I never could relate to that character.
He's very hard to relate to. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand for back in the day, like
in the 30s, there was a certain, it made sense.
Yeah, and he wasn't like even the actor that played him on television or whatever. Yeah. It wasn't even fit. but the thing is, like, and this is something. This is you get to drink soon. It's like in One Piece.
Okay, go on.
The main character Luffy.
Yeah.
Is really strong, and
right.
they're obviously he needs to like there needs to be the big boss battle later on in a story arc, and so he needs to have something to do or be stuck somewhere,
right?
And the worst case of it was during the Water 7 arc. So spoilers, I'm not going to give away too much. But he basically gets stuck in between two buildings.
Because you can't have the super strong... He would just end the story.
Well, right? Well, not necessarily in this particular part, but like he stuff can't happen because he's stuck between the buildings or whatever, or just stuck in a snake, or... like in a fighting tournament or whatever else, like he's someplace where he can't be where he needs to be to like end the story arc. So I mean the same thing like would be with like anything that has to do with Superman, like you need to have like somebody like incapacitate him, right? Like with the kryptonite, because that's the only thing that he's weak to.
Or you have to take Lois hostage, which is a like Lois is meant to be a strong character, so having Lois just be a victim and tied up to train tracks is reeks of sort of old stereotypes about women. So like you could do that, but there's not a lot you can do with Superman, and yet Christopher Reeve managed to make at least one, maybe two good Superman
the
movies.
One with Richard Pryor, right?
Oh yeah. That's, and the one with the nuclear guy. Yeah, those two.
Yeah, that was probably really great.
Anyway, so I really want that movie to be good, but this trailer was just so... It didn't really show that much. Mostly it was voiceovers of how Superman is bad for the world. Like, that's the other... Like, it's this alien has come down and he destroyed all the city, and we want these things, and somebody writes some like graffiti over Superman's chest in the trailer. I don't know if it's actually him or if it's his costume or like a statue. It's just like, no, people like Superman. That's the point of Superman. And I get that they're trying to like reinvent it, that like if Superman really came down to Earth, we'd all be fucking freaked out.
So they're just trying to do a Watchmen thing where like they don't want like the superheroes.
I think that is what's going on. Yeah. And I think that is a common theme in a bunch of these comic, like Marvel kind of does it, and I think that's where they're heading with their next Captain America movie. But they're getting there naturally. They're getting there over the course of like 6 or 7 movies. DC suddenly is like, oh shit, Marvel's got the formula, and now we gotta cram what they've been doing naturally over 10, 11 movies into one movie so that we can, and also bring out all our goddamn characters.
Is Aquaman going to be in it?
Aquaman is supposed to be in it.
What?
But he looks like
they just basically are they setting up for a Justice League movie?
They are setting up for a Justice League movie. Yeah. So I don't know. I want it to be good.
I'm surprised they haven't come out with a Wonder Woman movie.
They are working on it, and in fact, this week, what happened is they lost their director.
Oh.
This female director who apparently, I read a headline just this afternoon. I didn't get to read the whole article. Her pitch was too epic. I don't know what that means, but like,
do you just don't have the budget to make? There's CGI like anywhere.
You've got a fucking budget to destroy goddamn Metropolis. Have Superman like I don't know.
Slam Dance Cosmopolis.
One of these companies needs to, for the sake, I have a lot of geeky women in my fiction class. Ooh. Like these women represent a big portion of the population who would probably like line up for a superhero movie.
Could they not like do the invisible jet or whatever?
I don't know if that's what
they can't have like a person just woman just sitting in a plane driving around in space.
One of these companies has to make a female-led movie, and so DC and Warner Brothers are working on Wonder Woman, but they lost their damn director. Wonder Woman is in this Batman Superman movie, so they've already got an actress. And Marvel is doing Captain Marvel, a female version of Captain Marvel, but that's years out. There's a lot of women out there who would like eat this shit up, and
Gross.
That they're not. Let's talk about Star Wars. We're almost at the end here.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So the Star Wars trailer, the second one came out. First one came back out in like November or something.
And it was very, very bare bones.
It was very bare bones. I think we talked about it on the show. I mean, it had the Black Stormtrooper.
Yes. He wasn't wearing black. He was actually.
He was an African.
He was ethnic.
I mean, it's a galaxy far, far away. Let's see that he's played by an actor of African descent.
Yes, there we go.
There we go. There was that guy. There was a girl in rags on like a big speeder bike.
Yes.
She
was probably dive bombing womp rats.
And there was a Millennium Falcon. And there was a guy piloting an X-wing fighter.
Was it? Oh yeah, we already had.
And then
we already had the conversation about was it Wedge or Vix or whatever.
Yeah. And there was the guy with the weird lightsaber. So that was the one back in November. December. Was it December? It was probably December.
I don't remember what. Yeah. Probably.
It might have been December because it was like a year out because the movie is coming out Christmas 2015. So the new
I don't think it needs any more hype.
It does not need any more hype. Not to get off on a tangent or to get horribly off topic, but Avengers Age Ultron also does not need any more hype. There is enough fucking footage from Avengers Age Ultron, which comes out in 2 weeks, that I think somebody could put together like a 30-minute cut of the movie, and basically you could get the gist of it. They have released so many scenes and so many trailers and so many commercials with so much stuff. Anyway.
I haven't seen like the latest Avengers one, but does it have like a lot of that like doom and then like something happens and like doom?
No,
and then
no, they don't. They don't. I think they did that in the earlier trailers.
Okay,
maybe to some extent. No, they didn't even do that in those earlier trailers. Part of what was fun about the earlier trailers for Age of Ultron was that they were using weird, creepy versions of children's songs. So, like, they did a weird, creepy version of the Pinocchio song, I've Got No Strings. Like, that was the first Avengers trailer. Because Ultron is kind of a puppet that no longer has strings. Anyway. No, they don't do that. Dum. That's probably the Batman trailer. That would probably be the one that would do that.
So the
Star Wars trailer does not do that.
I finally saw it.
You did.
What was it? Yesterday it came out?
It came out yesterday. Okay, so you finally saw it.
Finally, after one day.
After one day.
One whole day of avoiding the internet.
Yeah.
I watched the Star Wars second trailer, and there was just, it wasn't bad.
No.
It was something that...
I have to say, like, the fact that you say it wasn't bad might actually offend... Because there were people... I liked it, but there were people online who literally were crying man tears. Like, they were making big tweets about the fact that...
the thing is, like...
you said, you didn't watch it till you were a teenager.
Yeah, but that and the getting burned by episode 1, 2, and 3...
Right.
Like, I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. Let's just see what happens when the movie comes out.
Yep.
there was something.
That's, I think, why these people were crying man tears. Is that they also feel very burned by that, and the fact that they're getting a movie, or at least what looks like a movie that's far closer to the originals, I think is why they're.
So okay, here's something that was said by someone that wasn't me, but that I totally agree with. When it had to do with the first trailer.
Yeah.
There's no stars. They're not in space.
Yeah.
At any point in either of these two trailers.
That is a fair point.
They are on Tatooine, I'm assuming.
They are not. They revealed in the panel yesterday that it's a different planet.
It's a different desert planet?
A different desert planet. I have forgotten the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something, and I'm assuming, and then they have, so if it's not Tatooine... Okay, now that just, totally, fucks with my brain, because,
right. You're thinking womp rats and sand people and all that stuff. Jawas.
Okay, another thing that I noticed is that the black actor that is playing the guy that had the stormtrooper outfit on.
Yeah.
He is always breathing heavy in every clip that I've seen so far. The first time, it's the first thing you see in the first trailer.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
And then every clip, in the new one, is him breathing heavy.
Is him breathing heavy?
Does he have asthma?
I don't know. Looking at the three, I watched a little of the panel yesterday, and looking at the three actors of them,
was he okay?
He's okay, but the male lead who is piloting the X-wing in the trailer, he is a very trim gentleman. The young lady who is who's also our protagonist, she is a very fit young woman. He, by contrast, the black actor, if any of them was kind of to be characterized as out of shape, he looks a little bit like he's got some extra pounds on him, maybe, and so maybe that's why he's out of weight. I mean, out of breath.
Outclassed. Something. Space movie.
Yeah, so he's always out of breath.
And then the part at the end when they had if you haven't seen it already, then
spoilers.
Get out from under your rock already.
Yeah,
because it's been a couple of days when this comes out. There's Han and Chewie.
Yes.
And they say
Han says Chewie, we're home.
Chewie, we're home. And what I thought it was Tatooine, so I'm they weren't from there.
No.
What is it? Chewbacca's from Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk, yeah, or Kashyyyk, however you pronounce that, yeah.
The Iron Sheik, he's from there. He's from Iran.
And Han is from. Is he from Corellia? No,
I don't.
I don't even know if that's actually a planet. I know Corellian freighter is the type of thing that Falcon is.
So, but they were talking about being back in the Millennium Falcon.
I believe that's what it is.
And they just needed the ship so they could get back to Kashyyyk actually for Life Day.
Do you think the holiday special is still canon? I wonder,
canon.
Well, they have redetermined since Disney bought Lucasfilm. They redetermined what was canon, and I'll have to look it up to see what they said. But
did they say that movies 1, 2, and 3 aren't?
No, they are. Movies 1 through 6 are canon. The more recent Clone Wars animated series is canon. Any new Marvel comic books, all the old ones are not, but anything new since the deal is canon.
Okay.
And any new novels are canon, but all the old novels are not.
The ones that came out I think in the 80s or 90s or whatever, those were actually, I didn't read them, but I know people that did, and they said they were really good. They should have been canon.
They were part of the extended universe, and they when Disney bought them, just said, nope, none of that.
That's a bummer, because I've heard really good things.
Because here's the thing, they wanted to make this new set of movies, and they didn't want to be beholden to the storyline that came out. So, I mean, for better or worse, all that stuff is now out the window.
You're out the window.
I am not out the window.
Innuendo.
So, if you want to find me on Twitter, are we done? I think we're done.
Sure.
No, did you have something else?
No.
We had everything. We did
the list, and we're at over an hour.
We're over an hour. So, if you want to find me on Twitter and tell me everything that I just got wrong about Star Wars and Marvel and everything else, I am at ECC1977.
And if you want to talk to me or blah 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 or follow me, I definitely. I'm getting up there. I'm getting close to 100 followers.
That is good. That is.
I'm 3/4 of the way.
I don't want. We're about to wrap up. Something that's that I find myself struggling with is like I get new followers and I have no idea why. And a lot of them are spammy type things who I think are trying to follow me back. But then a lot of them, I think, look at some algorithm or get told by some algorithm based on the people that follow me already that they should follow me. And like because I started Twitter so early, some like people you wouldn't expect to follow me. Like the Today Show follows me.
What?
The Today Show follows me because I was an active user of Twitter when the Today Show joined. And Twitter was not nearly as popular as it is, so the Today Show follows me.
But they never retweet you or know anything.
No. I mean, but back in the day when they first started, they followed a whole bunch of people those first couple of days, and they've never gone back and unfollowed them. And there are other places like that. So I get weird followers, and I'm just like, I don't know. And then there are things like, I'm trying to move out of New Hampshire. WMUR follows me. The New Hampshire Telegraph, like all these New Hampshire places follow me, and I'm like, if I unfollow them, that'll probably make them unfollow me. In doing, because I don't really care about New Hampshire news once I move out of New Hampshire.
Oh, jeez.
Do I want to do that, or is it possible that like the agent or like my big break is going to come through somebody through some damn New Hampshire connection?
Yeah. So why don't you just leave them?
Just leave it as.
Why the hell do you need to? Yeah. Don't unfollow New Hampshire.
Yeah. If you want to find the show notes for this episode...
Hey, I didn't say my Twitter.
You didn't? Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
It's at Tuesday is Loser. That's Tuesday IS Loser.
Very good.
All one word.
All one word. And you should follow Steve.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think most of the people that listen to this are people who already follow you, and it should be me that's begging them to follow me.
Well, maybe you should tell your followers that I'm a good follow. Because I tweet the same thing you do every week.
If you want to find show notes for the episode...
Oh, fuck! I have another plug. I forgot.
Okay.
Holy shit. Dan would have killed me.
Oh my gosh, yes, you need to plug this.
Holy crap. So, Dan, if you are a fan of the show, like about halfway through our run so far, we did a couple of episodes where it was Chris, Dan, and I talking about Dan and my band, the New Sweethearts. And we were talking about how we had recently released our third album, which is called The Ape's Choice. Well, guess what, folks?
What?
If you would like to support Dan and I with some cashola, buy the album. It's available on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, I think Spotify. I don't know if that last one is true or not, but those first three are probably where you'll... So
you can't buy on Spotify. You can listen, which depending on...
Okay, so fuck Spotify.
Yeah.
You can get it on iTunes, which is probably the preferable one.
Yeah.
Or Amazon or Google Play. Get it from one of those three.
Get it from all three. What the fuck are you doing?
It's not expensive. It has our new song, Diary of a Hobo.
Diary of the Hobo is the sequel. That'll be on the next album.
Which, if you are aware, is the theme to our show here.
If you want to hear the rest of the song, you only get to hear like 30, 45 seconds of the song on our show. If you want to hear the rest of it, you got to buy the album.
Yeah, you get to listen to it and actually hear the lyrics to the song, because there are lyrics. It's not just an instrumental.
Yeah.
So pick up The Ape's Choice is the name of the album. The Ape's Choice on one of these platforms.
One of those platforms. I will try to link them all in the show notes.
Thank you.
I will do my damnedest to get
I don't think it'll be hard to find. So yeah, definitely pick up the albums. And and support Chris's Patreon.
Hey, and
our show, whatever.
You know what? And we always say leave us 5 stars on the iTunes. I'm pretty sure you can rate albums and stuff like that too. So if you go on iTunes, you buy Ape's Choice on iTunes, make sure you leave them 5 stars, because And, iTunes is pretty hard to rise up those charts and whatnot, but you never know. I don't know how...
That would be hilarious if we just blew up.
just blew up the charts.
It'd be like, who the fuck are the new sweethearts?
Who are these guys? All right, so if you want to find those show notes with the links to everything, if you're too lazy to type something into your search engine, you can find... I just insulted people we just asked to pay us.
Fuck them.
clarkwurst.com/hot/38. The number's 38.
38.
Woohoo!
38.
Woo, 38. This is the part where we would say something funny or profound or just cut off the show.
I'm just going to do hand farts. Best ending ever.